Welcome to another episode of Everything Intellectual Property. Today, we have a very special guest with us. This gentleman has created the world's first smart toaster, which features a touch screen that allows you to customize your heating experience. Please help me welcome the founder and the CEO of Revolution Cooking, Tom Klaff. How's it going, Tom?
Hey, Dave. How are you?
I am doing pretty good. It's close to the weekend here, and they're trying to finish off the week strong here.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for giving me some time here today to kind of go through your journey and I guess your most recent just kind of going through with the Revolution Cooking and that business and the smart toaster. I guess I always like to, just so people can get an idea of what it is that the guest has invented or is currently dealing with that we're talking about. Can you give it just kind of a description of the smart toaster? And I actually have, I guess, the website pulled up as well in case you wanted to just give a visual in case maybe you didn't have the product nearby there.
Yeah, we invented the Revolution toaster. I had launched it in 2019, but it really was an R&D experiment for our new heating system. My partner in this venture has had a lifelong obsession with why it takes so long to toast bread.
Yep.
And so I met him in 2016, and I liked him a lot. I loved his story, and I'm not a food aficionado, but I like disruptive technology, and I was like, well, didn't know much about why it took so long to toast bread. So I went to a trade show, walked around a couple stores, and noticed that the heating element in these toasters and ovens were all the same, and they take a long time to. It's the reason why your oven takes 20 minutes to preheat. It's the reason why toast takes 4.5 minutes to toast. It's because you have to really heat up that metal, and get it hot enough and to kind of project heat. So I told my partner, I said, yeah, let's go invent a new toaster, but I'm here to also build a platform technology around the heating system. So we started with the toaster. It's not a sexy category, but the technology worked, and we realized if we were ever going to sell it, it needs to look distinctive, and it can't look like any other toaster if it's sitting on the shelf at a crate and barrel. So we came up with a touchscreen design to appeal to millennials and others, and it was just different looking. So that's really the genesis around the toaster.
Nice. And that's pretty interesting that you're saying, hey, we have this heating system that's different, but then just having enough, I guess, wherewithal or foresight to say, we just can't maybe put that out that looks similar or looks the same as everything else out there in terms of toasters. We need to add this touchscreen component to really be able to kind of, I guess, tell that story of, hey, this is a different thing altogether with, I guess, the heating system compared to maybe traditional toasters. I guess, where did that come from? Or was that maybe just kind of based on prior experience or your experience just kind of in the entrepreneurship game overall? Or was it something specific that led to, hey, we have to have this thing look different to be able to kind of better tell that story, especially and be able to attract millennials or so because I think that's an interesting fact of not just putting out a toaster that the heating system is different, but it looks the same. But no, the overall toaster, the design and look and feel of it is different.
Well, if it's sitting on a shelf, you wouldn't know it. I mean, it's because it's inside, so no one would know it. You could say as much as you want about it, but no one would really believe you. So we realized we had to make it look remarkable so that it was, sleek and modern and something that people had to have. That looks good on the counter, like artwork or jewelry.
Nice.
But when they experience it, then it is faster. It's better. Yeah.
And preparing for this interview, it was seeing that, or I kind of seeing that this heating technology, the conventional heating technology, is back from the 1800s and the 1900s. I guess. And I'm not sure if you have an answer to this, but why do you think nothing has been kind of developed since that time on, I guess, in this case, toasters?
Dave, it's a really good question. I think this dates back to, the 1970s. when, a lot of the brands that, are in small kitchen appliances, started shifting their R&D and manufacturing to China, and they became basically marketing brands. So from an innovation standpoint, they were more focused on, the industrial design and the look, the marketing look,
Yep.
than they were about the, the complex mechanics of how things operate. I wouldn't say that's true for every brand, but the majority. And so, what you find is an industry that has become massively commoditized, and it's built on brand. The market share hasn't shifted. Lack of innovation has occurred, and that's really that's the reason why nobody's done this. Now it's also really, really hard work to do. It's not easy, and we found out firsthand. It's like I have appreciation for Edison, breaking light bulbs, because we experimented it for over a year and a half on this to try to figure it out, and it's not easy.
And I guess it seems like since you have cracked the Morse code there, this application is okay. You guys are using, I guess, the heating system, and that's the important thing of, I guess, the technology, because you're using it for a toaster. But it seems like from what you're saying, this thing can have other applicability, whether it's for an oven or other appliances that heat up and, like you said, take a long time to get to that operating temperature that the user is setting.
Right. That's the plan. And we have our sights are set on other adjacent markets where rapid infrared heat would be valuable. So we're working on new products on this platform. Yeah. And you can think about like what Dyson has done with their cyclone motor. So they built the motor to basically power their fabless vacuum cleaners, and now that motor is in hand dryers, hair dryers, and everything else that they're selling.
Huh. No, and that's actually a really good point there. Definitely a good point. So then as I was looking at the actual toaster, this thing, because I guess I haven't used a toaster in a while, but from what I recall is, you put the piece of bread in there, you kind of, I guess, set it and set the temperature, and I guess you heat the bread. But it seems like your toaster is not only, it does like sandwiches and other, I guess, food products as opposed to just bread, which is, I guess that's something I've never seen. So I guess how did that come about, or is that just a function of being able to, having this smart heating technology and kind of being able to kind of play around with it to heat other foods? Because I guess on one end you think, okay, it's just making that slot bigger so that it can, I guess, fit a sandwich in there. But I would imagine that it's kind of more than that in terms of kind of how things are heated and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, we're like Revolution Cooking is an efficient heat transfer technology company. That's really what we are. We're not a small kitchen appliance company. We really are a platform company with efficient heat transfer as our core. So, we look at building appliances on top of the platform. We want to make sure they're versatile, that you can do more than just, the conventional toasting in this particular instance. So we developed a line of accessories. One in particular is what we call a toasty press, which is basically, it's a patented appliance that slots right into your toaster. It's got a clamshell design, so you can actually make your own grilled cheese or empanadas or quesadillas and have them toasted in a toaster, not just our toaster, but any toaster. It works best in ours because we've got algorithms around it.
Okay.
But it works great. And you just conduct a heat transfer to heat up a sandwich quickly and give you a panini, out of your toaster.
Yep, that's what it seemed like, just kind of from looking at it. It seems like you have that, I guess, panini feel from the toaster, which is pretty cool, and I would imagine is useful to a lot of consumers. So I guess maybe I wanted to ask you, kind of going back, kind of your background, kind of going to Brown and having the English degree, and then kind of going to Carnegie Mellon and for your master's. Did you always kind of think to yourself, okay, I want to kind of be an inventor or entrepreneur, or that was it like happenstance at that case? Because it seems like you have a number of companies that you kind of founded along the way, and just kind of wanted to see, especially with the background in English, I guess, how did that the entrepreneurship bug kind of come about?
Well, I wanted to be a professional baseball player. That's what I wanted to be. I mean, but change that. Then I wanted to be a doctor, and then I realized I don't think I could hack the med school track. So it's interesting. I mean, the English degree I have in Brown, I've got a creative side of my brain, and when I went to Carnegie Mellon, I wanted to develop the quantitative side of my brain. My first job out of college was really in sales, for a startup medical equipment company, thinking that maybe I'll talk to doctors in this job, and maybe it'll convince me I want to go to med school. But really, what it convinced me was I really wanted to be an entrepreneur, because it was a very nimble organization. We had developed remarkable products that customers loved in the hospitals and clinics, and I really got the energy, and it solved the creative side of my brain and the analytical side of my brain, and by being the entrepreneur, basically, being the leader or the founder was something that I've always wanted to do. So I just got that bug right out of college. I'm not a technical person. I'm not really an inventor per se. I have creativity, but I love working with engineers and inventors to bring out their best as they bring out my best in the products we build.
No, and I like that. And I guess I want to first, go back to the big professional baseball comment. I know we were talking a little bit offline about me playing football at Michigan State, and like many, young athletes coming up, going through college, definitely had aspirations of playing in the NFL. But then you find out, or at least I found out very quickly at Michigan State, that I'm maybe a good college player, but it's another level to that professional athlete. And again, playing with running backs like Le'Veon Bell, who had some time with a lot of good years with the Steelers, and Javon Ringo, who backed up Chris Johnson in Tennessee when he was kind of running wild at running back. You find out very quickly that it's another level to that NFL running back, and unfortunately, I wasn't giving that guy those guy gifted abilities. But again, a good college player nonetheless. So that's interesting that you had that, just with, at least with wanting to play professional baseball, having that same aspiration. I guess kind of maybe going back to what you were saying about being able, not necessarily being an inventor per se, but being able to work with engineers to kind of bring out their best, and then vice versa. Is that a skill set? Because again, I guess you maybe see a lot of people who are inventors, but then a lot of people who are maybe business people who, I guess, don't do the inventing, but then again, being able to work with the inventors or the engineers to kind of really develop something. And I almost said as that visionary, I think, going back to Steve Jobs, where I guess maybe he was an inventor or whatnot as well, but it seems like he was more of a visionary, kind of working with the inventors to kind of bring out the best in them in terms of this overall product. Is that a skill set to do that, or is it just kind of something that I guess you have it or you don't?
No, I think you develop it. I think, every inventor, engineer I know wants, certainty. It's black and white. Give me the requirements and I'll build it. Yeah. And being an entrepreneur, when you're, launching disruptive products, or you're looking at new opportunities where you can solve problems in a different way, there isn't certainty. There's a lot of gray. It's not black and white. So, you need to do your research and do enough of the analysis to at least get, 60% of it, certain. You're not going to have 100%. If you get enough certainty to provide the requirements to the engineers, then I think that, getting to market quickly with something, less perfect, less certain, is more important than, trying to make it perfect and not getting it to market at all, or having go to market and have it been rejected. So from that standpoint, it's really talking the language, having a common language with my partners, bringing value to them, in terms of what I know about the solution, and also bringing some perspective about, hey, we'll learn more from the customers once we get in their hands.
Gotcha.
And it's a stage gate process that they understand. They love process, and you can make it a process about how you launch new products that is market driven and also engineering supported, not necessarily engineering driven. Got you.
No, and that makes sense. To kind of maybe even going back to the comment when you were saying, just kind of be for yourself, being able to kind of use a creative brain, part of your brain, but also, I guess, the analytical or the qualitative or the quantitative part of your brain. It seems like maybe a lot of engineers, I guess, maybe have that. Would you agree that they have maybe the quantitative, but not as much as the, I guess, creative or?
Well, no, I'd say, well, they definitely have both. I mean, I think the inventors in particular who have an engineering bent are massively creative, but I think it's just a matter of, it's different from person to person. I think inventors in general are massively creative.
Okay.
But I think inventors can also fall in love with their ideas. And I think it's important not to fall in love with your idea because it doesn't really matter unless somebody's not going to write a check and pay for your invention.
No, and that's, I think, what you're talking about in terms of being market-driven, kind of more than just, okay, this is your ideal, I'm in love with this thing, and I want to get it out there.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I've always built marketing-driven companies, not sales-driven, but marketing-driven companies, because I think that it's important to understand positioning, consumer behavior, functionality, identify the problem you're solving, quantify the problem you're solving, and delivering that solution that exceeds the expectation of the consumer. Now, when we started with this toaster, to me, it was, well, who cares about a toaster? I mean, people just care about, they pay $25 for toasters. And there's a segment of the market who is it's very aspirational, who want a different experience. They want to know that their toast is toasted to a certain level and it's coming out fast because they've got kids ready to go to school. I mean, there are segments that look at a toaster as being a bottleneck in your kitchen. So there are legions of consumers who really would pay for a better experience than settle for a $25 toaster they can get at Walmart. Not to disparage them, they sell a lot of toasters at Walmart.
Yeah.
So I think that from that standpoint, it's what problem are you solving, and and are you delivering the value that exceeds the price?
Got you. So and I think that's maybe a good segue because, like you said, okay, the toaster, just a Walmart toaster or a toaster that you get from Walmart maybe is $25-$30, and you pay for it, and it's a cheaper option, so you kind of really don't care. But again, Revolution Cooking has a toaster that maybe is a few $100. So you're saying, hey, it's a subset of society out there that wants this experience, and they're willing to pay for it. So it still makes sense, even though with the elevated price, that it still makes sense to kind of come out with this thing. And I understand that you're saying it was a R&D thing as well to kind of be able to test this the heating system, but given the increased price compared to what's out there, still kind of made sense to come out with things with the toaster, just because it was a subset of the population out there that wanted this more quality experience, and not, like you said, not serve as a bottleneck throughout their day or in their kitchen as they're kind of going throughout their day. Right.
Yeah, there are people who want. Look, there's a large segment. I mean, about 47% of the U.S. market is aspirational. They drive almost 3/4 of the gross domestic product. So to us, that's a big market. We don't have to sell to the entire market. We don't have to go mainstream. We don't have to. We prefer to go to the aspirational consumer with this.
I guess that's interesting. I've kind of been fortunate to kind of work on a lot of different, inventions, and maybe even talk to people as well, where they are kind of also trying to capture, I guess, a subscription model as well. Has it been any thought to, okay, we have this the smart toaster that has this touchscreen feature. Is there a way that we can kind of, do different things or provide some type of interaction or function so that we can maybe kind of take advantage of a subscription type model where people want to talk to other people who got a smart toaster and hopefully you understand the question, but has it been any thought to that, to maybe take advantage of, say,
I think holistically, as a platform company, we're looking at annuity models that are, not necessarily directed towards the toaster, but other products. So, for us, and we are launching a connected toaster later this year, and we take connected seriously in the sense that it's got to provide value to the consumer.
Right.
So there's real estate on that screen that is untapped. I mean, when it's idle, it's now a clock. Yeah. We've had a lot of feedback from customers saying, well, could you put weather on there? Could you enable us to put our family photos on there, make it a digital picture frame? So these are the things that are coming down the path with our products to just to cement our ability to keep the toaster on the counter and make it a vital part of the experience. Now, whether we charge people an annual subscription for it, probably not.
Okay.
Right now, it's a value add, but there are other products we're contemplating and also executing against that could be annuity or consumable business models that provide that recurring revenue that you're talking about.
Okay. No, nice. Yeah, and that, like I said, that just popped in my head because, like you said, that screen is digital real estate. And I know a lot of times people try to take advantage of it, whether it be a family photo or, like you said, being able to interact with somebody else who has a smart toaster and kind of, I guess, bounce ideas. I don't know. Just sometimes
I think it's important that, for us, it's the equation is, can we deliver far more value than the price? And if we can do that, then we can increase, our conversion rate for, aspirational buyers.
And I guess to your point about, like you said, that subset of the population that wants like a high quality experience in their kitchen. I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of smart appliances, from smart kitchen sinks to bathroom sinks, where you have, I guess this technology where things are kind of, it's an interesting technology where things are, it's unconventional, but it makes life easier. And like you said, doesn't provide for that bottleneck. And so I definitely understand where people will be willing to pay more for just kind of a better experience in the kitchen as relates to these different smart appliances. I guess I always like to ask the guests as far as the IP side of things. Now, obviously, I would imagine that you are more well-versed in intellectual property compared to somebody who's, okay, this is their first startup, given that you had a number of companies. Obviously, you're protecting the IP, patents, what have you, on, I guess, the revolution cooking in a smart toaster. I guess the question is, what made you, or how did you maybe come into, I guess, the know of, I guess, patents and IP and just that world in general, and the value that intellectual property can have to a business and just to a company overall?
Well, I think it's important. It's been important in every one of my companies. My model has always been looking at large, slow to innovate markets, identifying a problem I can solve with disruptive technology, and then going out and solving that, and then building what I call, what people call a competitive moat. You need to kind of protect how you do what you do. And some things you file patents on, and some things you don't. I mean, there is know-how and that you don't want to, patent because that's necessary in making the patent operate the way you want it. Yeah. Trade secrets for, not something that you want to, blast to the market publicly.
Yep.
So we're very intentional about that. We're intentional about where we manufacture, where we sell, and what markets we want to protect. And then, what kind of patents we want to file, a design patent versus utility patent. So, in every one of the businesses I've had, we've been, very patent literate, but patent, not out of control. I mean, it costs a lot to patent and maintain. So, we need to make, clear choices in this company. Cooking and, heating is, I mean, ever since the invention of fire, I mean, there's a lot of intellectual property, that's been filed in this space. And so, navigating that, scenario to get your IP isn't, patented and protected has been a challenge, but it's been, but it's necessary. So we take the patent process very seriously. We look at it not just from a defensive, but an offensive stance, just to make sure that, we are protected. I think it matters who you work with. I think, the kind of patent attorney that you have that is a three-dimensional chess player versus a checkers player, if you know what I mean, is worth its weight in gold. So I've learned a lot, just in this company in the last, 6 years or so. And it is not an easy, thing to get patents and to, file for those things.
No, and I definitely agree with that. And it seems like, I know you're saying a type of patent, which is interesting because especially when you're talking about a toaster, we're having like the world's first toaster with the touchscreen. I would imagine that's at least eligible for design protection on whether or not you kind of went that route in addition to the utility. Where I would imagine that was maybe a discussion internally with the team.
Well, the heating system certainly from a utility standpoint,
Yep.
because
Absolutely.
that's the platform, and
Yep.
that's the crown jewel of the company. So we wanted to make sure that we got that all of those patents filed and granted, and then certainly on the design. I mean, we don't want to see knockoffs in the market. We're building brand. It's important.
Yep.
Brand matters for this company and how we protect it and grow it. And knockoffs that come in would affect our brand. So we want to make sure that we're protected.
I see. Yep. No, and that makes perfect sense. I guess what about abroad? Because I know we've been talking up until this point about just utility applications and protecting it maybe stateside, but I would imagine that the technology, the toaster still has applicability in other countries, whether it's in countries in Europe or maybe Germany, China, India, some other countries abroad. So I guess how does that play into the thought process when you're talking about, because like you said, a pan is expensive here in the U.S., but that's a whole nother, I guess, ball game and fees.
Yeah.
You're talking about trying to protect it outside. So I guess how do you kind of square that?
We looked at it, and again, it can add up. We did get PCT patents on the products, but I mean, I think that the key is really identifying the markets where we think we will sell into, and markets where we will manufacture from.
Correct.
So those are the key considerations. So it's not every country, but it's certain countries, and but still, like the North American market is still the largest market right now for our products. So that was an important consideration. That was key, towards where we focus.
Well, yeah, it seems like I know I was interviewing maybe a couple of weeks ago a founder CEO in Denmark of a kind of breathing device, and he kind of talked about how kind of the U.S. is in their main market where generates the most amount of revenue, but that's kind of just in general. It's I guess the main market for a lot of business owners to be able to come and sell their product in the U.S. And part of that was he said that people in the U.S. for whatever reason kind of buy things that they maybe shouldn't buy, or a lot of it's just a lot of maybe worthless. I shouldn't say worthless spending, but kind of we probably buy things and spend money on things that other people in other countries are hesitant to do for one reason or another.
Right.
Yeah, definitely the U.S. is that crown jewel in terms of kind of being able to sell in that market. Well, I guess it's better. That's better than anyone in terms of kind of the up and down nature of, I guess, business. What would you say? I guess I always like to ask, I guess, to a two-part question. Number one, what was maybe the biggest breakthrough of the company as well as the product? I see that you're on Forbes, you're on The View and Oprah, so a lot of kind of, I would imagine that helps out from a marketing, from advertising, getting the product out in front of a mainstream. But then I guess part two of that question is, what was the biggest challenge, I guess, up until this point with the business as well, which I know you kind of talked about a number of them up until this point. So I guess maybe for the first question, what was the biggest breakthrough for the company? And then what was maybe the biggest challenge for you kind of trying to navigate this product at this point in time?
Well, the biggest breakthrough, I think, is being able to take this core technology we built into a toaster, and we'll be launching this new category of one oven appliance later this year. So it works really, really well. It connects, it's a combination of a microwave, an infrared heating system, baking, broiling, air frying, convection, all in one. Solves a lot of problems when you look at frozen food, when you want to heat and crisp and you don't want to preheat your oven and microwave it, in another oven so you get defrosted. You could do it all in one.
Nice.
So, how this extensibility from the InstaGlow heating system we invented, how it's going to enter into an adjacent market and deliver yet another great value for consumers. That's been our breakthrough, and we're excited by that. The challenge, I think, we launched our toaster in late 2019, right before COVID, and so we experienced all that. Well, it was a blessing and a curse. I mean, the blessing is that, that people, were at home and they're looking at remodeling their kitchens and, eating at home more. And so, we got a boost from that because people were looking for interesting things, but also from a supply chain standpoint, it was harder. getting components, building up inventory, getting the costs down, all hard. So, we've got a really great battle tested team,
Nice.
who's been responsible for the breakthroughs and also have been responsible for getting us through these really tough times. And I couldn't do without them.
Oh, and I was going to say, it seems like just for companies out there, and it seems like your company was able to kind of get through that kind of COVID and pandemic time to the extent, obviously, a lot of companies maybe didn't make it through that time for one reason or another. Seems like, man, if you can kind of get through that time and the craziness that provided, then you can almost get through anything. I see it because that was like the wild, wild west. So
it was hard.
Yeah,
and it was unconventional. A lot of people were doing unconventional things, and it's hard.
Oh, for sure. But it seems like you guys were able to make it through, which was, like you said, a good thing, and definitely being able to learn a lot from it. Mm-hmm. So you talked about one of the biggest breakthroughs, I guess, coming out with an adjacent technology for like the range or whatnot. How important is that, I guess, to come out with new products? Because I know it seems like, and I'm not sure how true this is, but I guess the population or society can maybe kind of get bored with just having that one product, even though it's a really good product, that they're just looking for something new at some point in time to kind of get them, I guess, refreshed or, I don't know, reinvigorated or whatnot. I guess how important from kind of a business standpoint do you guys look at that and say, okay, it's time to come out with a product for the people, not so much because we have something based on our R&D and, okay, it's time to launch because we're ready, but more so because I guess our customers, our consumers are kind of maybe looking for something new.
I think it's enormously important for us to launch new products on this platform. It just validates the importance of the IP that we have that delivers this value in other use cases, in other categories, in other markets. So that's important. It drives more revenue because we're allowed. It enables us to build a family of products and SKUs that our customers in the retail side, want. So how do we build a presence in store? It's hard doing it with one SKU, one product, or one category, and not a big one. Toasters aren't a big category. So how do you kind of build a relationship with your retail customers? It's also important to build the relationship with your tribe of consumers who always are wanting to know what's next. And we've got like just some of the best consumers who support us and who just want the next aspirational thing, and they buy a lot of toasters from us, repeatedly, gifts and everything else. And so, so I think it's important that we support our tribe of consumers and give them the best products that they want, leveraging this technology. So that's really that's been our philosophy. And then thirdly is, unlocking new solutions to age-old problems where our technology could actually help. So we're constantly looking at how our technology can solve these problems and identifying different problems that are tangential, not necessarily, in the sweet spot of what we're doing, but tangential to what we're doing.
Nice. No, and that makes sense. And I just think that's the importance of kind of going back to the IP and the patents and things like that to get to the extent possible. Like you said, it's a lot of, I guess, stuff in maybe in a particular area that kind of makes it tough to get a patent with the most teeth as possible. But to the extent that you can do that, to be able to kind of do it in a way that it allows for you to take that same technology and apply it to different areas. So again, in other words, you're not patenting a new toaster per se. It's more so a heating system that can be used in a toaster. A heating system can be used in other appliances and other products, which is important and a good distinction because it allows you to build, as you talked about, a family of products as opposed to this one product, which I guess you really don't have a business if you just have, I guess, one product as opposed to
and then just grow the IP base around the platform.
For sure, exactly. No, 100% agree with you on that. So then I guess, and I'm not sure if you can answer this one, as we kind of have a couple more questions for you. You personally, I guess, what is the plan, I guess, with Revolution Cooking? Is it, okay, we're going to, get it to a point where we're generating a lot of revenue and then maybe sell it? Or is it, okay, we're going to kind of operate this thing long term and really try to turn this thing into the next big, maybe appliance company? And obviously, it seems like maybe with some of the other previous companies, those were kind of created and then sold at some point. Do you have like a vision for you in terms of, okay, I'm going to do this for X amount of years with Revolution Cooking, and then it's maybe kind of on to the next disruptive item?
It's a good question. I mean, we talk about having optionality, in the business, depending upon how everything goes and where we're heading. But I think from my standpoint, when we started this company, our moonshot goal was to get our heating system into every kitchen in the world, whether it was through our appliances or through partners.
Nice.
So, we have a brand. We want to own certain categories. But, we think of this like how high definition television, disrupted, standard TV overnight, and so, it was just a different experience that consumers wanted. And so ultimately every TV adapted it. So we think the same thing about cooking. Why would you want to stick with the status quo when you can get a much better experience with this technology? In your ovens, air fryers, microwaves, things like that, toasters.
Right. No, and that I guess that makes sense. And like you said, okay, maybe you don't use a toaster that much, but we are going to have some appliance for you that you would be able to kind of buy and use this technology and see the value from it. That makes a lot of sense there. I guess maybe the final few questions. And I would probably consider you, I'm not sure if you like this term, so I'm not trying to say it in a derogatory way, in terms of like a serial entrepreneur, where if you've kind of been around the block, been able to create, sell companies, operate companies, and kind of been doing it at a high level for a long time, always try to see what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who are maybe looking to get into, I guess, the entrepreneurship game, but are, I guess, kind of petrified for one reason or another. I guess what advice would you give to those people that may be watching this interview?
I would say that being an entrepreneur is a lifestyle, not a profession.
I like that.
So this is not something that's a 9-to-5 job you're punching out. I mean, this is something that you're wired to do. And I'm not saying that you couldn't, if you're not wired, you couldn't wire. You absolutely could wire. It demands, a lot of perseverance. There's a lot of rejection, a lot of failure. I mean, a lot of failure. So I think that to me, it's just around. I look at it as a lifestyle, not a profession.
And I guess to piggyback off that, or a follow-up question off that, I interviewed Dr. Dave Smith, who kind of made this Q collar. I'm not sure if you heard of it, where a lot of professional athletes, whether it's football, lacrosse players, hockey players, are wearing it to protect against concussions. And he always talks about, hey, I like to invent stuff. I'm not necessarily a business person. But again, it seems like he has kind of partnered or aligned or associated himself with, I guess, the people on a business side that can kind of push the vision and push, I guess, the company forward. And he's kind of more so in the background, just being an inventor. In other words, it seems like he's more of an introvert as opposed to an extrovert as it relates to, I guess, the business, if that makes sense. Do you think that just because you are an introvert or somebody that really maybe doesn't like business, but you like the I guess the inventing aspect of it, that you can be an entrepreneur? And I guess maybe that term is entrepreneur as opposed to entrepreneur, where you're maybe partnering with, again, somebody who kind of can be the face of things. Do you think that those type of people can still be entrepreneurs and kind of do things at a high level?
I think that to build a company or get a product to market, no one person can do it by himself.
That makes sense.
You need my partner Bruce always says, like, every good thing I've ever done, I've done it with partners. It's true. I mean, you can't do it by yourself. It takes somebody who is outward facing, somebody who is inward facing, somebody who is operational, somebody who's administrative. I mean, you need them all. And so I think that it's the people, finding the people that you like to work with, that you respect, that you mesh well with. That's the key. That's actually the key to life. It's like, it's not just in business or entrepreneurship. It's just, finding people that, you have common ground with and common vision, purpose, and, you like and respect and treat well. I couldn't do this by myself. I found great people and they found me too.
Right.
So, this is sort of how it works.
Oh, and I guess the reason I ask that is because it seems like maybe it's different from, say, 30, 40 years ago when you can maybe just work, say, in an automotive plant, again, being in the Detroit metro area, work for maybe the big 3 or 4 company, do that for 30 years and, retire with a pension. It seems like maybe these days, and maybe you disagree with me on turn, like I'm always of the mindset of, I guess you don't just having multiple streams of income. And I see how the layoffs kind of work, and whether it's with a big company like Google or Facebook or just different companies that have layoffs. And it seems like, okay, if you're maybe putting all your eggs in that basket, then you're kind of really exposing yourself as opposed to, okay, I'm kind of investing with the company, whether it's time or money or resources for that matter. And at least I have maybe some secondary revenue source that I can kind of provide for myself to kind of give less exposure to, I guess, maybe my main job or my day job.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, job security is, it's not like it used to be. And, even having a pension, so some of these pensions dry up too. So it's a different world than it was when my parents were working. And, I think that, and it's going to get even more interesting with AI. And I'm not saying AI is going to replace people, but people who know AI will replace people. And I think that's just, I think it opens up a lot of opportunity for entrepreneurs who can leverage skill set they don't have using technology like AI. So I think the world of entrepreneurship actually could explode with these new tools.
Yep.
And anybody can take advantage if they have the perseverance and the courage, to make that leap.
Oh, and I definitely agree with that wholeheartedly. And again, I guess that's maybe another reason for the podcast, just being able to kind of, prepare people for that change that's happening, especially as it relates to AI, and saying, okay, to the extent that you have some IP in your business, whether it's a trademark or a patent or a trade secret. I know you talked about a lot of people kind of really still don't understand that. If you have these different forms of intellectual property, just to kind of make sure you're going about things the right way as far as protecting them, as you kind of get off into whatever it is that you're doing. So I definitely agree with you on that. I guess maybe the last question, how can people maybe just follow you? How can people follow Revolution Cooking and seeing kind of the new product that you guys are dropping or the new things that you guys may have going on? And like I said, to the extent that they want to follow you personally, I'm not sure how active you are on a different social media sites, but how can you...
Personally, I'm on LinkedIn, so certainly we could link in. Our company is on Instagram. We do a lot of social media outreach there, on Facebook, on TikTok, I think certainly. So yeah, we welcome followers. I'd welcome more connections. I think it's, like I said, I think it's important that networks build, and there's a lot that can happen when people work together, respect each other, and do things together.
I definitely agree with you on that. Like you said, and anytime, especially if you're doing something great, you're probably not doing that on your own. So just aligning yourself with not only people, but the right people that can kind of help push things forward. I guess that's what it's all about. I definitely appreciate your time for kind of giving me some time here today. And audience, hopefully you enjoyed him. He talked about a lot of great things. If you haven't today, if you please go check out the toaster, the smart toaster, and purchase it if you have that appetite for
anybody wants a discount. You use our promo code FRIENDS on Rev.
Friends, okay. Promo code FRIENDS. So, and I'll definitely, I'm not sure if that kind of runs for a set time, but when the interview comes out, I'll definitely put that discount FRIENDS in the, description if they want to use that. It's definitely, like I said, when I saw all the different things, we didn't even talk about the warming rack, that it definitely has some different functionality compared to traditional toasters that I was checking out, like, that's interesting. And I can see that, and you said, just providing value and enough value to the point where, okay, even though it's a couple $100, people will still want to purchase it because of the value that it provides. So definitely, audience, go check that out. I think that's it for this interview, and I can't wait to check you out on the next one. Guys, take care.
Thank you.